In this lecture, we're going to talk about Comet's ability to summarize PDFs. Now, it probably shouldn't surprise you that Comet is able to do this because it can summarize any web page, it can summarize YouTube videos, it can summarize emails, which we'll get to later. PDFs are just another document type that Comet and Perplexity are very, very good at summarizing. Now, in this example here, I have the entire book of Proverbs loaded as a PDF, Proverbs from the Bible, and it's 579 pages in length. Okay, so this is a large PDF, and we're going to see how well Comet can summarize this. Now, you'll notice that, and one thing that immediately struck me is we don't have any options down here like we did with a YouTube video. We had 4 or 5 different options with regards to how we could summarize a PDF. Now, it's quite possible that since at the time of this recording, which is August 19th, Comet is still so new that it simply hasn't added, or maybe even thought about adding some default search options or summarization options or research options for PDF. Doesn't really matter. I typically don't use the default ones anyway. But it would be nice to see what ideas it would come up with. So we're going to see how well it can summarize a PDF document that's a little under 600 pages in length. All right, now I'm just going to start off very simple. Before I get into detail, let's just make sure that Comet can summarize a PDF of this size at all. So I'm just going to say, let's see. Let's just keep it real simple. What is the major point of this PDF? Let's see what it comes up with. Now, I'm going to let this run just so you can get an idea of what it's going to go through and how long it takes to summarize or determine what the point of this PDF is. Okay, let's go. Let's see what it does. Now, this might be hung up here. This is typically what I see when it gets. I'm going to let it go for another few seconds, and I may need to start over. And maybe maybe the PDF is too big. I actually, up until this point, I actually haven't tried to summarize a PDF with Comet, so I don't know. I'm assuming it can summarize PDFs. I don't know that. And this is one of those lectures I didn't rehearse ahead of time. I often do, but this one I didn't. So I'm kind of learning how we can summarize a PDF in Comet along with you. I suspect this is hung up, so I'm going to try to start this over. Okay, it was hung up. I had to shut it down, reload it, and start again. All right. Wow, that's amazing. So now this summary, well, okay, so what's the major point? I didn't really ask it for detail. And so the major point of the PDF, which is an advanced Bible study guide for the book of Proverbs, it's got the central theme. The guide makes clear that Proverbs offers divinely inspired practical wisdom. It emphasizes that wisdom is not just knowledge, and studying Proverbs requires active participation. That's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing that it gathered all of that by apparently analyzing 579 pages of a PDF. But again, we really didn't ask it to do a whole lot. Let's get a little more specific. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say generate a complete outline of this PDF. Now, I'm not telling it exactly what I'm looking for. It's going to determine how best to create this outline. And let's see what it comes up with. Good, it didn't hang up. Mapping out the PDF structure, blah, blah, blah. Extract a complete table of contents or generate a comprehensive section by section outline. That's good. Now it's doing some reasoning. So now it's actually doing some actual analysis of the PDF. And I'm going to let this run, unless it takes too long. I'm going to let this run just so you can get a feel for how long this takes. Okay, well that didn't take very long at all. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 seconds. Here's a complete outline of Proverbs, assignments, Introduction, Proverbs for my son, topical studies. All of these areas are covered. Proverbs of L'Emmanuel, miscellaneous import. Oh, that's very good. Okay, that's not bad. That's not a bad outline of this PDF. All right, now let's get this a little more. Let's get this a little more in depth. How list all of the places in the PDF that talks about wisdom. Because really, the book of Proverbs is mostly centered on, a good part of it is centered on wisdom. So list all the places in the PDF that talk about wisdom. Let's see what it comes up with. This would actually be a great way to study Proverbs or study any PDF that's lengthy on any topic. Okay, the topic of wisdom is addressed throughout the entire PDF. Of course it is. Interesting here. So Proverbs 1 talks about it, 2, 3 through 4, 8, related topical studies, concluding statements, examples, and this is quite good. Quite good. All right, that's very good. All right, now let's do one more search. And let's get a little more specific. List all the, well, actually, let's do this. What does the PDF have to say about the value of work? Now, Proverbs talks a lot about the value of work and putting in a good effort in your work and so on. For each occurrence, list the page number and the encapsulating verse. Okay, so what does the PDF have to say about the value of work for each occurrence? Actually, that should be a question. Let's see. Okay, so what I have to say about the value of work? For each occurrence, list the page number and the encapsulating verse. Now, let's see what it comes up with here, because it's going to have to look through the entire PDF to answer this. All right, good. It's not hung up. It's going to work. I'm going to let this run so you can see what it's doing. And I like this. This is exactly what I was looking for. So search the PDF for every discussion about the value of work, including diligence, excellent, industry, slothfulness, which is laziness, labor, etc. Very good. Now this is taking a while, as I suspected it should, because it's got to go through every single page of the PDF looking for references to work. Okay, I am going to pause this. This is taking quite a long time. I'm going to pause this and I'll come back when it's complete. Okay, it's complete. Now the first thing it tells us is I am unable to extract page-specific references at this moment due to a technical timeout. Okay, apparently some process of this took a little bit too long. But I can provide a summary based on the PDF's known structure and content. Okay, so Proverbs 6 talks about diligence and being lazy. Proverbs 10, verses 4 and 5, he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand. In other words, being lazy again. So these are all of the verses. This is very, very good. This is exactly what I was looking for, was a list of all the places in the document that talks about the value of work and not being lazy and so on. And then it gives a nice summary. Okay, so we have seen now that for the most part, Comet does a very good job in summarizing PDFs.